Today's Mock Draft Monday on the Rams Digest. We're going to go over my Mock Draft 3.0, if you will. The first three rounds, or first three picks at least, we'll talk about. Also want to say happy St. Patrick's Day. If you guys have noticed a big green shirt I got on right now, trying to get in the mood this year. You know, every single year, actually, I never really celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So if you guys do celebrate, you go out and drink or whatever, drink green beer. Just be careful, whatever it is you guys do. We're going to talk about that, the Mock Draft Monday, and much more on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron. Remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, press that subscribe button now, as 72.5% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're still not subscribed to the channel. Do me a favor, press that subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. First things first, before we get into any of the stories, I want to hear a word from the sponsor for today's video. We are incredibly excited to be kicking off our March Madness bracket here for the channel. We're going to be partnering up with the Hot Takes app and other Digest channels for this event. It's completely free to sign up. All you got to do is download the Hot Takes app, go ahead and click over the March Madness banner at the top, and under Group, select the Digest Media Pool. This is extremely exciting, guys. We're talking about over $25,000 in prizes to be won, and since there's a much smaller pool of people participating, there's a real chance of winning big compared to other bracket challenges out there. Check out the link below or scan the QR code to download the app, and make sure to use the promo code DIGEST in all caps. Again, that's DIGEST in all caps to get exclusive perks when signing up. It's completely free, a serious chance to win, so do me a favor. If you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and hit the email down below. Other than that, thank you to Hot Takes for this opportunity, and I hope to see you all there in the March Madness pool. All right, and to start off today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about, before the Mock Draft Monday, we're talking about year two for a particular player. This is obviously a really big-time player we're talking about on the defensive side of the ball. We're discussing Braden Fiske and what he had to say about his basically areas he needs to improve this offseason. So Rams defensive lineman Braden Fiske names one area where he wants to improve in his second NFL season. And obviously, look, Braden Fiske was incredible. He led the team in sacks with 8.5 sacks on the year. Very good as a pass rusher. And then, you know, ultimately him and Jared Verse having that crazy great connection since their college days was incredible to watch all year long. Of course, Jared Verse winning the Defensive Rookie of the Year. But ultimately, if honestly Jared Verse wasn't playing as well as he did, or maybe just wasn't on the Rams, for example, maybe wasn't as successful in his rookie year, I mean, Braden Fiske was in that conversation as well for Defensive Rookie of the Year. We're happy to have them both, but I'm just kind of simply saying that, you know, Braden Fiske was in that conversation as well for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And so it's pretty cool to see both of these guys as young players come into the league and immediately have such a great impact. I mean, the Rams were, again, we always talk about one play away from possibly going to the NFC championship game, in which we would hope and assume that maybe they can make it to the Super Bowl from there. And so ultimately this defense has been changed over one draft, and it's really heavily because of guys like Braden Fiske, Byron Young, Jared Verse. But of course, talking about Braden Fiske specifically, what can he get better at? I mean, he obviously was already so great in his rookie year, but he says this: I want to be better in the run game. I think that was the place. I don't want to say necessarily struggle, but the run game wasn't as good as my pass rush game. I want to balance that out more. I want to be more of a presence on the field and become more of a true three-down guy on the field. I think that will really elevate my game going forward and really put me in a separate category if I can really emphasize that. And I do kind of agree, right? Shout out to Braden Fiske for being really self-aware, obviously self-aware in the sense of the team in itself, right? We talked about last year how the Rams struggled in the run game, right? They struggled slowing down other teams' run games. And so ultimately, I talked about this, right? Everyone, even though Braden Fiske is a little bit of the bigger kind of body guy, everyone on this defensive line is a little bit on the lighter side, a little slimmer, right? So they can get a little bit bigger for sure, I'm sure, stronger in their year two. That's something we can all expect from guys going from year one to year two. But ultimately, Braden Fiske specifically trying to hone in on his run stopping is something obviously that we can really benefit from as a team on the defensive side of the ball. You got Puka Nacua alongside him now. Hopefully Kobe Turner in year three can now improve in that area as well. Ultimately, this entire team can improve at the run game. You need to get better linebackers still. You still are looking for a linebacker to fill that hole that you have in the middle of the defense. But ultimately, the team as a whole, if this defensive line focuses in on the run game, I think that's definitely something that could take them from an already great defense to an even better defense, or a good defense to a great defense. So shout out to Braden Fiske for acknowledging this as a weakness in his game and saying that this is kind of something that he's going to focus on this offseason. I mean, we can still continue to talk about his numbers, right, coming back from last year. According to Pro Football Focus, Fiske finished 2024 season with a 57.5 overall grade, but his run defense grade of 38 0.8, was among the worst at his position. Every player in the NFL can stand to improve in some area, and Fiske is aware he needs to get better stopping the run. And so, again, super great to see the maturity of Braden Fiske to acknowledge this is a weak point in his game. Again, one of the worst ranked players in terms of run stopping in the league last year, but he is kind of a little bit of a bigger body, and I think that's something that if he can kind of get that balance of run and pass, run stopping and pass rush in his game, something that I think would heavily benefit the Rams moving forward, and ultimately, again, become that from good defense to a great defense. So moving on from that, we could talk about our mock draft Monday today on the channel. We did discuss a mock draft yesterday from the Rams Wire. We had the Rams taking a linebacker in the first round. With their second pick, they went cornerback. With their third pick, they went defensive tackle. And I think some fans are a little bit, hesitant about a linebacker at the first round. I know we all understand that's a need for the Rams, but ultimately I think not really the most favorite pick out there. So here is my mock draft for today. Again, I do want to emphasize, one, I'm not a draft expert, but two, I also want to acknowledge that, I'm looking more at the positions. I'm obviously breaking down these players a little bit, looking at what their numbers are looking like and all that good stuff and what the professional draft experts are actually saying about these guys before I draft them. But I do want to acknowledge and simply say, hey, look, I'm not an expert at this. I am not Les Snead. I am not the general manager. So relax. This is just some ideas that we can kind of take a look at so we can kind of, prepare for the draft and kind of have some names in mind already when the draft comes along in a couple of weeks. And so we're talking about Colston Loveland with that first pick, 26th pick in the draft. I was kind of looking, Jihad Campbell, he was actually the linebacker that the Rams took in the mock draft we talked about yesterday at the 26th pick in the draft. What's funny is in this mock draft, according to PFF, the simulation had him going with the 6th pick in the draft. I don't know if Jihad Campbell's going to go that high, but it does show that Jihad Campbell is actually getting some buzz at the linebacker position, maybe going to go higher than we can expect. So if he doesn't fall to the Rams at 26, I was looking at other positions. There was another linebacker on the board. A lot of offensive tackles that I think the Rams could take, but ultimately you have your starters already in Havenstein and Alaric Jackson. Maybe you don't want to draft the guy in the first round at that position just to sit on the bench or, compete with the guy who's getting paid, right? So I went with Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan. Again, we've talked about this pick here on the channel before, but just the best player available, in my opinion, sitting there at the draft, 26th pick. It just seemed to me, in my opinion, to be what the best pick for what the Rams need right now in their draft process and their roster building process. So Colston Loveland, he's going to be the replacement for Tyler Higbee, of course. Tyler Higbee's still on the roster right now, so maybe we can see a little bit of a passing of the torch situation with Colston Loveland, learning from a guy like Tyler Higbee, but also playing heavily in his rookie year. That's something I think the Rams could really benefit from. Offensive tackle in the third round, 90th pick in the draft. We went with Marcus Embo, or Marcus Bow. I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly, but we got an A from this one, by the way, a draft pick. Offensive tackle from Purdue, played on the right side of the offensive line, could play a little bit of guard as well. Does need a little bit of time to develop, a little bit on the slimmer side. Could get a little bit stronger, of course, so I think that'd be a great pick for the Rams. Yes, of course, you're drafting. You only have, your top 3 picks are in the top 101 picks. You want all 3 of these guys to play heavy in their first year, but ultimately, I think a guy like this here from the tackle from Purdue, I think he can sit behind Rob Havenstein, learn behind Rob Havenstein, and kind of develop as a tackle a little bit more, get stronger as a tackle, and I think that would kind of be very, very beneficial for him and beneficial for the Rams moving forward and the future of the right tackle position for the Rams. And then I went last but not least, I went with Barrett Carter, the linebacker out of Clemson. Around this pick, honestly, linebackers weren't really the most prevalent in terms of the best value at this pick. That's why we got a C- here on the draft, but he was the best linebacker on the board, 6'2", played in a big conference. Clemson, a good team, obviously showed some versatility all around, could play in the passing game, could play in the run stopping game, could actually rush the passer a little bit, blitzing the quarterback, and so ultimately I think that's kind of very beneficial for the Rams. So that's my mock draft for the day. That's my mock draft 3.0, if you will. It's my third mock draft here on the channel. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Give it a grade if you guys want, just like PFF did. They gave me a B, so I'm just saying, the experts are saying I got to be on this draft, so don't go too crazy on me. And the comments, again, we're just looking at some interesting names and some players that are available, generally speaking, on the PFF mock draft simulator. And so, that's always inaccurate. Guys always go higher than we expect. Guys always fall lower than we expect. And so the draft ultimately is going to be very, very different when it comes down to the actual draft night. But ultimately, I do like exploring these different opportunities and options of seeing guys and generally speaking, where guys may rank, where guys may fall, where the experts are saying they may go in the draft, so we can see kind of the names left for the Rams when they're going to be picking, since they're picking so late in every single round. So just some ideas there. You guys let me know how you guys feel about those picks in general. You guys let me know your mock drafts. Maybe you go on to PFF, do the mock draft simulator. You got to do one a day, so it for free at least. You want to subscribe to PFF, do your thing. But if you do want to do one mock draft for free, hit me in the comments below. I can kind of maybe hit you guys back. I'll reply maybe from my personal channel, and I can kind of get you guys some grades on my own and kind of see how we feel about your mock drafts moving forward. Last but not least, trivia of the day, my favorite part of the episode. I give a trivia question. You guys give your answers in the comments. We screenshot the answers, whether you're right, whether you're wrong. We give you a shout out on the next episode. I appreciate you guys who have been playing along so much lately. Here is the trivia of the day from the last episode, as I almost gave you a sneak peek of the new trivia of the day. Last episode trivia of the day was as such: the best-selling book, A Season of Life, is the story of ordained minister and volunteer coach Joe Ehrmann, who was once a star defensive tackle for what team? We did have a few people play along, and I appreciate all of you guys for playing along. For those who have never played before, again, all you got to do is comment your answer to these trivia questions. If you like this one, you know the answer to it, go ahead and give your comments down below if you like. But if you want to be shouted out in the next episode, then go ahead and play along with the next question coming up shortly. The multiple choice options for this: where did Joe Ehrmann, where was he a star defensive tackle in the NFL? Was he playing for the Colts? Was he playing for the Dolphins? Was he playing for the Bears or the Giants? And the multiple choice answers were given to us from these few folks here. Shout out to Floyd saying Colts with the shrug emoji. Shout out to Big Friendly saying Big Friendly 5200 saying Bears. The real J Will said no idea, but the Colts came to mind before the choices. I'd like to phone a friend though. So shout out to J Will. I don't know if you phoned a friend before the comment, but shout out to you for that. Brian B says Bears ? I have no idea. And Jesus Rodriguez says I think the Colts. So shout out to all of you guys for playing along and guessing in the comment section. Really appreciate it. Let me make sure I get you guys shouted out here on this screenshot as well. Shout out to Floyd, shout out to Big Friendly, shout out to The Real J, shout out to Brian B, shout out to Jesus Rodriguez. But the correct answer for the trivia of the day on last episode was the Indianapolis Colts. Joe Ehrmann was a star defensive tackle for the Indianapolis Colts back in the day. So shout out to all you guys for guessing, whether you got it right, whether you got it wrong. Again, we'd like to give you a shout out regardless. I appreciate you guys playing along. And I actually appreciate when you guys get it wrong because it shows you didn't Google and you played honestly. So I always appreciate and respect that. Moving into the trivia of the day for today, here is the question. It should be kind of an easy one. This one kind of came to mind in my opinion without the multiple choice options, but you guys let me know how you guys feel in the comments down below. What team originated as the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets before taking its current name in 1933? Again, if you guys have never played along before, all you got to do is hit the comments. We'll give you some multiple choice options right now. If you really want to guess without multiple choice, go ahead and test your knowledge down below in the comments before I give the multiple choice options. What team originated as the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets before taking its current name in 1933? Was it the A, Eagles, B, Packers, C, Washington, or D, Lions? Let me know your guesses down below. Was it the Eagles, Packers, Commanders, or the Lions? What team originated as the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets before taking its current name in 1933? Give your guesses down below. We'll give you a shout out on the next episode. Whether you get it right, whether you get it wrong, we'll shout you out anyways. Other than that, that's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. Make sure you guys download the Hot Takes app and join with the code DIGEST before March Madness begins. The brackets are going to lock in a couple days, so make sure you guys do that if you want to play along, get your chance of winning some nice, some good money, some free money. And if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss any daily Rams content. That's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I'm out.